Tag TV, and Tag Radio. Technology now has a voice of innovation and information. Get it on www.tagtvonline.com. The legislative session has begun, and it won't be just the 56 members of the Senate or the 180 members of the House engaged in all the action. And then, of course, there's that big red gorilla in the room attending the General Assembly this session, a potential budget deficit expected to top $2 billion. In walks one state representative leading a visionary campaign to generate a major outlay of capital to foster a future for Georgia that holds both the promise and potential of a much larger and more vibrant science and technology community. Greetings, everyone. It's Tuesday, January 13th, 2009, and this is the first in a series of special State Legislative Session 09 leadership discussions as Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella speaks with Representative Bob Smith. In the summer of 08, the Technology Association hosted by invitation a standing room only town hall meeting, a first of its kind that brought together key recognized leaders in Georgia's tech and science industries to meet, hear, and brainstorm with State Representative Bob Smith, whose goal is to introduce legislation to inspire significant investments into emerging and innovative technologies and to bring together the best minds in the corporate technology community to help shape and create new discoveries, new companies, and a dynamic knowledge-based industry workforce for Georgia. The town hall meeting was a major success and has ignited both the public and the private sectors in support of this campaign as rarely seen before. Today's Tech Talk is all about Future Sight, S-I-T-E, science, innovation, technology, and energy, as Tino Tech Talks with State Representative and Vice Chairman of Appropriations, Bob Smith. Bob also serves as the current Chair of Appropriations for the Higher Education Subcommittee and is a member of the Rules, Energy, Public Utilities and Telecommunications, and Reappointment Committees. Representative Smith also chairs the Higher Education Funding Formula Study Committee. Listen and share the energy and passion of this unique political leader with a clear vision for both innovation and entrepreneurship, and get the answers to the big question on what Georgia can do to make our state a world leader in science and technology and the #1 destination for entrepreneurs in America. As the Tech Talk turns to the 09 legislative session, and Tino speaks with State Representative Bob Smith.
Representative Smith, welcome to Tech Talk.
Well, good morning, Frank and Tino. Thank you for having me on your show.
No, it's great to have you on. I think our listeners probably don't realize that you're one of the greatest advocates at the state for entrepreneurism, technology, innovation, and we really appreciate that.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but you're absolutely right. I'm an advocate and will continue to be, because this is probably one of the most exciting things for this generation and the next. It's science, innovation, and technology and energy. It's just incredible what's going on in our great state and this nation.
Well, you're in for the readers and the listeners certainly are thinking about this year and concerned about the economy and how it impacts the state. What are you looking at in respect to cuts, Representative Smith?
Well, you've noticed that the economy is not very, very healthy right now, but I got news for you. I'm not going to participate in any recession or depression, nor are you, Tino and Frank at TAG. I got a applaud tag. Technology Associates of Georgia came into my life about 6 months or 7 months ago, and I can assure you that TAG and all the members are not going to participate in this. But relating to that, we have been told by the governor and his budget analysts that we should prepare for 6, 8, or 10% cuts in the budget. And that's currently, our budget is about $21 billion across the table, or across the board, and the 6% and the 10% is quite hefty. And my biggest concern is that what I do in the budget is I chair a subcommittee on higher ed appropriations, and that is all the universities and technical colleges, the public broadcastings, and public libraries across Georgia. My concern is that you cannot cut the future, and the future is science, innovation, technology, and energy. The future is that. So I'm going to encourage the Board of Regents and the governor and others in the legislature as we go forward in this next session starting Monday the 12th, that we avoid the cuts in the science and the technologies and innovation, because this is the future of this generation and the next. And we've got to create some entrepreneurial spirit out there that we've lost and missed for so many years now to take the innovators and the scientists' breakthrough forward into this generation and the next. So you will see me doing some battle with the budget people. You'll see me doing battle with the Board of Regents and the technical and adult education and with the legislative process this session. I trust you on that.
Well, bravo. I mean, our listeners will be excited to hear that. I think the perception sometimes in terms of the economy, it's there, but we have to be bullish and move forward. So thank you for your stance on that. Now, you handle as the subcommittee chair of Appropriations for Higher Education, your committee handles about a $3 billion budget. So how is that going to be impacted, do you feel?
Well, obviously, you're looking at a 6 and 8% reduction according to the governor's wishes, and my wish is to look at other parts of Georgia that aren't leading us into the future, such as the science and technology. Of all places that we need to shrink or cut is science and technology in the future. And relating to that, I look at places that we could look at as a prison system. We're the #1 incarceration state in the nation. We're incarcerating prisoners at an alarming rate, and many of them are for nonviolent. So maybe there's a couple of $100 million that we could shave from that budget. That's just a potential look, and there are ways to do that. And there are other things that the presidents of the universities could be told to, let's get rid of some of the horse and buggy departments, I like to call it, or the horseshoeing department, I like to call it. And let's focus and set our priorities toward the future, and that is what I've said over and over and over this morning, science and technology and innovation.
Well, Bob, you and I put together with some other great friends a session about 6 or 7 months ago. We called it a town hall meeting. We loaded the house there. I don't think they could have fit another person in the room. And we told a story about the importance of innovation and entrepreneurship and what some of the other states are doing. And then we also listened to people in the audience who told us their thoughts about innovation, technology, science, entrepreneurship, energy. And you took this on, it seems like, as a cause after that. You've been talking to a lot of leaders around the state on this issue. So let me ask you, what have you heard and what have you found? And so what do you take away from that in respect to legislation?
The town hall meeting was one of the most incredible things, Tino. You and I were planning to have 18 or 20 people at this, and we had the house full back in the summertime. And what we did come away from that is we obviously broke it into 3 different groups. One was what are the legislative ideas to go forward. The other one, most important, was what other states are doing. And if you look at California, they did $3 billion 6 years ago. They took it to the voters, and this is what some legislation I'm modeling after is a California initiative 6 years ago. The voters approved this measure 59% to 41%, a $3 billion taxpayer-funded initiative on stem cell research. Let me tell you, those are big bucks, $3 billion. And then subsequently, they had another $1 billion initiative. And then you can move into Massachusetts and Maryland, $1.1 billion and $1 billion, and Texas's initiatives, and New York, and on we go. And in Georgia, we do have some dollars there, and there's a lot of dollars. The Board of Regents' budget is $6 billion for 250,000 students being served. $6 billion is a lot of money, but where's the focus? Where's our priority? Where's the man to the moon that we must have to get people all excited, where even the scientists that aren't involved in some of this gee whiz bang stuff that Tino and I have been working with, At least the old saying, the rising tides lift all boats, and we as a nation, and especially Georgia, would be better because of it. But we've got to have our priorities right, and that is science and technology once again, and the innovation that comes from this. And now, more importantly, what has bubbled from all these town hall meetings and the meetings that we've had with the leaders is the word entrepreneurs. The word entrepreneurs. And the last meeting that we had was, I like to say, note takers versus doers. The breakthrough artists. We had breakthrough artists and doers at this meeting, not any note takers. And what bubbled to the surface, and I think Tino will tell the members later as we go forward, in order to grow Georgia, we've got to create an environment in Georgia second to none for creating entrepreneurs. Because when you have entrepreneurs that are going to be the ones that take these breakthroughs to the market, you've got to have them, because typically the scientists and the innovators are not entrepreneurs, and they don't make it to the marketplace. We've got to create a whole new level of entrepreneurs and make it the number one state in the nation. And if you'll allow me, I'd like to elaborate on that. As part of this budget process that I watch over, the university system, the technical and adult, the public libraries, and all the public televisions and radio, wow, you could put all of these four together and create a whole new environment to create this entrepreneurial status or disciplines. The University of Georgia and Georgia State, by the way, have just created a new discipline called an entrepreneurship. So they'll have a diploma hanging on the wall when they graduate called entrepreneurship. And this is exciting for us, especially the innovators and the scientists and all these people involved in the breakthroughs, that the smart people sometimes don't have that risk-taking, like a risk-taking mode that the entrepreneurs have. And this is exciting stuff. So thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, Bob, one of the things that I know you've done is been out there talking to some of these entrepreneurs. Let's take Chris Klaus, for example, co-founder of ISS, and now started a new company called Keneva. And you've recognized the importance of people like that to stimulate the economy, to create jobs, and also to drive science. And you've related, even though, say, somebody like a Klaus is involved with the gaming industry, that a lot of those things translate into defense and education and other impacts that they can have on the world. Thoughts about that?
Chris Klaus, K-L-A-U-S. That is one innovator there, and I'm proud to call him a friend. This is a guy that when we were having our meeting with the innovators that I was speaking of later this fall, or this past fall, Chris is one of those that bubbled it all to the surface, said the day of students going to the placement office when they're about to graduate from a university are over. They're going to have to create their own jobs. And this is an astounding statement coming from a brilliant guy like Chris Klaus, who is that innovator and entrepreneur at the same time. Those are rare. Just like Steve Stice at the University of Georgia doing stem cell research. He's also an innovator and an entrepreneur, which is a very, very strong combination. But Chris raises the bar on what needs to happen to take these incredible breakthroughs to the marketplace. Let's talk about that for a second. You have an entrepreneur, you have a breakthrough artist, or an innovator, a scientist. You team together to take this product to market. When you take this product to market, things happen. Jobs are created. New opportunities spin off from these jobs. And this is the bottom line of what we're talking about, Frank and Tino, that Georgia prospers. We become number one in entrepreneurial status, and jobs, jobs, jobs.
Well, we like what you're saying, and I know that you and I have discussed the idea of having Georgia be the number one state for entrepreneurs. We've even talked about a theme, Georgia loves entrepreneurs. Do you see that happening, and what role are you going to play this year? I know that it's baby steps to some degree, but do you have some legislation want to begin bringing through? Not to put you on the spot there, Representative Smith, but I know you're thinking about some things you'd like to see happen this year.
I have a number of legislation prepared. One in particular is a study committee. And the study committee is something that would keep the energy alive, to bring the smart minds together to come up with ways to do it next year. It's more of a longer-term approach. But this study committee, I want it to look at SITE, S-I-T-E, Science, Innovation, Technology, and Energy, the alternative investments, which is venture capital funds and the like, that many other states besides Georgia are using, Georgia being the only state left that doesn't invest in the teacher retirement, employee retirement system and alternative funding, and entrepreneurship. So SITE, alternative investments, and entrepreneurship will be a study committee that I'm going to push for and hopefully pass, and have a joint study committee between the House and the Senate where we get all of the players in this whole state involved in this. The other is the legislation relating to ones that I alluded to earlier about the California initiative, a $2 billion SITE initiative, Science, Innovation, Technology, and Energy, where we create a board that oversees the expenditures of $2 billion, a 10-year investment with private sector match $1, $2, and $3 for every dollar taxpayer fund. I'm excited about this. At least get the idea on the table. Let's talk about it. We cannot continue to come in 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th, and 12th. Let's start to think come in first place. Number one in the nation.
Well, you mentioned make no small plans, and this is certainly heading that direction. And you also alluded to states like California, Texas, Massachusetts, Colorado, and Maryland and others that have made investments and are starting to reap the return on investment. So it sounds like you have your work cut out for you, Representative Smith, but you know that TAG will be behind you all the way, and best of luck for the session this year.
Well, thank you. And it's not me. It's about Georgia. It's about creating jobs for Georgia. It's about having a big network of team players. And that's what I am. Tino and others would tell you that I am a team player that wants to do it like my friend George England said, do it the way it's never been done before. We've got to do it the way it's never been done before, because that's the way innovators are. They do it the way it's never been done before. But I'm honored to be on your show, and I'm honored to be a member, a dues-paying member of TAG, and I look forward to hearing from you further. What an exciting time we have, and thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you for joining us on Tech Talk.